There are people whose identity is carried by the lion. There are people whose identity is carried by the elephant. There are people whose identity is carried by the monkey, the zebra, the heart, the leg, or even the flying ant. But today we meet a people whose identity cannot be held in the hand. It cannot be tied to a tree. It cannot be locked inside a kraal. It cannot be stopped by a wall, because their symbol is water. Their home is the pool. Their relative is the fish. And their story flows through the land like the mighty Save River. Today, on the Native Child Stories of Zimbabwe, we are exploring the Dziva Totem. Dziva, Hove, Save, Sambiri, Msaigwa, Masiziba, Blambo, the children of the great pool, the guardians of water, the descendants of a lineage whose story reminds us that gentleness is not weakness, silence is not emptiness, and persistence does not always need to make noise. Sometimes the most powerful thing in the world is simply water finding its way. Muroi Salibonani Magati Vanevefu. Welcome once again to the Native Child Stories of Zimbabwe, the podcast where we explore the histories, legends, symbols, and identities carried within Zimbabwean names and totems. This is not merely a search for surnames. It is a search for memory. It is an attempt to understand the knowledge that our ancestors placed inside ordinary words. Because Dziva is not simply a pool. Hove is not simply a fish. Save is not simply a river. Those words carry generations of belonging. They tell us where people came from. They tell us what they respected. They tell us how they understood nature. And sometimes they tell us how a clan understood itself. Imagine the sound of water moving over stones. Imagine reeds bending gently beside a deep pool. Imagine fish moving silently beneath the surface. Imagine the Save River stretching across the land, carrying water, soil, stories, and life from one generation to another. That is where our journey begins. The word Dziva refers to a pool, particularly a deep or significant body of water. Not every collection of water is called a Dziva. A Dziva may be deep, it may be ancient, it may hold water even when smaller streams begin to dry. It may be a place where people gather, where animals drink, where fish breed, and where stories accumulate over generations. In traditional thought, a deep pool was never regarded as empty simply because one could not see what was beneath its surface. The depth itself commanded respect. The silence commanded respect. The unknown commanded respect. The word Hove, on the other hand, means fish. For many branches, one of these lineage, the pool and the fish are inseparable. One is the secret home, the other is the secret creature within that home. This is why many people identify themselves as Dziva, while others identify as Hove, Save, Sambiri, Msaigwa, Mlambo, Siziba, or by any other associated Shidao. These identities may differ according to family branch, dialect, an ancestral leader, or geographical origin. The names are not necessarily interchangeable in every family. Oral traditions differ. A person must always listen carefully to how a particular family explains its own lineage. But across many of these branches, one thing remains constant. Water is central. Water is identity. Water is memory. Water is life. One of the most important geographical references in the Dziva tradition is the Save River. Some pronounce it Save, others say Sawe. The name appears repeatedly in clan praises: Maita Dziva, Maita Save, Maita Hove. The Save is one of the great rivers associated with eastern and southeastern Zimbabwe. It passes through landscapes that have supported communities, agriculture, livestock, wildlife, and trade for generations. Along its basin are communities in places connected with Manicaland and Masvingo, including areas associated with Buhera, Wedza, Bikita, Chipinge, Cheredzi, and Checheche. The exact histories differ from branch to branch. Some families trace themselves to communities near the upper Save basin. Others identify with settlements further downstream. Some traditions connect the clan with movements along river valleys. Others remember an ancestral leader who settled beside a significant pool. But the river remains more than a point on a map. It is an ancestral landmark. It is a spiritual address. It is almost as though the praise name Save is saying, you may find us in many districts, you may find us carrying different surnames, you may hear different dialects from our mouths, but follow the water and you will find the memory of our people. A river is a powerful symbol for a widespread lineage. At one point, it appears to divide the land, but at another point, it connects everything. A river touches one village, continues moving, touches another village, and carries something from each place. It does not remain exactly the same from its source to its destination. Tributaries join it. The banks change, the soil changes, the depth changes, yet it remains the river. Perhaps the Dziva lineage is similar. Different branches, different praise names, different settlements, different family histories, but one central current flowing beneath them. At the spiritual center of many Dziva traditions is the name Dzivaguru. Dzivaguru can be understood as the great pool. In some traditions, Dzivaguru is remembered as an ancestral figure. In others, Dzivaguru is described as a great rainmaker, a spiritual leader, or powerful ancestral spirit associated with water and rain. There are also wider Zimbabwean traditions in which Dzivaguru is not limited to one ordinary ancestor, but becomes the name or title of a powerful rainmaking presence. This means that we must be careful. We should not force every tradition into one story. One family may speak of Dzivaguru as their founding ancestor, another may understand Dzivaguru as a Mondoro, another may associate the name with Mwari, a rainmaking or spiritual power or secret pools. Oral tradition often preserves different layers at the same time. A person can become an ancestor. An ancestor can become a symbol can become part of a wider spiritual tradition. And after many generations, history, memory, and secret meaning may begin to flow together like tributaries entering one river. One common account describes Dzivaguru as a person of extraordinary spiritual authority. He understood the movement of seasons. He understood the behavior of clouds. He understood the relationship between water, land, animals, and human beings. When drought threatened the people, Dzivaguru was consulted. When the clouds gathered but refused to release rain, rituals and prayers were offered. When the rains finally came, they were not understood merely as weather. They were understood as the restoration of balance. The land drank, seeds opened, cattle found grass. Wild animals returned to watering places. Women carried water back to their homes. Children played in newly formed streams. Life returned. This is why rainmaking was never only about producing rain. It was about protecting the community's future. Without rain, there could be no grain. Without grain, there could be no food. Without water, there could be no cattle. Without cattle, many systems of wealth, marriage, and social responsibilities would suffer. Therefore, a rainmaker was not simply someone who claimed to control clouds. A rainmaker occupied a sacred position between the people, the ancestors, the land, and the divine. This spiritual memory, it helps us explain why the Dziva identity carries ideas of fertility, abundance, and guardianship. The people of the pool were not simply living beside water. They were associated with the responsibility of protecting the conditions that allowed life to continue. In traditional societies, water was shared, but important water sources also required protection. A deep pool could provide water during dry periods. It could contain fish. It could support reeds and medicinal plants. It could attract animals. It could serve as a boundary, a meeting place, or a secret site. But water could also be dangerous. A calm surface may conceal great depth. A river that nourished fields could also flood them. A pool that sustained life could take life from the careless. Therefore, the title owners of the pool should not be understood as ordinary ownership. It does not necessarily mean that one person could stand beside the river and declare, "This entire river belongs to me. Everybody else must bring an entrance fee." No. Our ancestors were not running a water park. The idea is closer to guardianship. To belong to the pool was to carry a duty towards it. It meant respecting its creatures. It meant understanding its moods. It meant preserving the secret relationship between the community and the water. The owner was also the servant. The guardian was also accountable. This principle appears in many African traditions. Authority does not mean consuming everything under your authority. True authority means protecting it. Water is one of the richest symbols found in human culture. For the Dziva people, it may represent life, fertility, wisdom, purity, patience, adaptability, spiritual power, a lot of things. Let us look closely at these meanings. Let's start with water as life. Every human being begins life surrounded by water in the womb. Before we learn to speak, walk, or recognize our family members, water has already protected us. When we are born, water continues to sustain us. We drink it, we cook with it, we wash with it, we grow crops with it. Our livestock depend upon it. Wildlife depends on it. A community may survive without gold. It may survive without iron. It may survive without cattle for a period. But no community survives without water. To carry the water totem is therefore to carry a symbol that touches every living thing. When rain falls on apparently lifeless ground, I'm not talking about fertility, something extraordinary happens when rain falls. Seeds that have remained hidden begin to open. Grass pushes through the soil. Trees produce new leaves. Insects emerge. Ishwa and Abeta. Birds return. The whole landscape changes color. Water does not create life from nothing. It awakens what was waiting. This is why water is associated with fertility and abundance. It reveals possibilities that were already present but could not emerge without nourishment. Perhaps this is also a lesson about people. Some people do not need to be forced. They need to be nourished. Some dreams do not need to be shouted at. They need the right conditions. Some children do not lack ability. They lack encouragement. Water teaches us that life responds to care. Water is purity. Now, water washes away dirt. It refreshes the body. It cools heat. it refreshes, it restores dignity after difficult work. For this reason, water often becomes a symbol of purification. But the Dziva lesson should not be misunderstood. Purity does not mean that water does not become muddy. After heavy rains, even a mighty river may carry soil, branches, and debris, yet the river continues moving. Given time, though, the dead settles, the water clears. That is a powerful lesson. A difficult season does not permanently define a person. Confusion can settle. Pain can be processed. Clarity can return. Water is wisdom. Members of the Dziva lineage are often praised for wisdom and intelligence. Perhaps the connection becomes clearer when we observe the behavior of water. Water does not argue with every obstacle. When it meets a rock, it moves around it. When it finds a crack, it enters. When the land descends, it follows. When it is contained, it waits. When pressure gathers, it breaks through. This is not cowardice. That is intelligence. Water knows when to flow, when to gather, when to fall, and when to remain still. Some people believe strength must always be loud. They think power must announce itself. They think every disagreement must become a battle. But water teaches another kind of strength. Flexible, but not powerless. Gentle, but not weak. Patient, but not defeated. Water can cut through mountains. One of the most powerful ideas associated with Dziva praise traditions is Mvura yakacheka makomo, the water that cut through mountains. Think about that image. A drop of water is soft. You can catch it in your hand. But it has no teeth. It carries no spear. It makes no boast. But allow water to move consistently for generations. It can carve a path through storm. It can shape valleys. It can cut through mountains. It can transform the land itself. This is the power of persistence. The mountain appears stronger than the water. The mountain is solid. The water is fluid. The mountain stands firm. The water seems to surrender and move around it. But after many years, it is often the water that determines the path through the mountain. That is a lesson for all of us. You do not have to destroy everything in one day. You do not have to prove yourself in one dramatic moment. Continue moving, continue learning, continue building, continue telling the stories, continue teaching the children. One episode may appear small, one conversation with a grandparent may appear small, one recorded praise poem may appear small, but small efforts repeated over time can cut through mountains of forgetting. The Hove identity is another layer to the Dziva story. The fish lives beneath the surface. It moves through a world that human beings cannot enter without effort. We stand beside the pool and see only reflections. The fish knows the depth. It knows the underwater currents. It knows the spaces between stones. It knows when danger approaches from above. This makes the fish a powerful symbol of hidden knowledge. Not all wisdom is visible. Not every knowledgeable person speaks first. Not every important activity happens where everyone can see it. The fish can move through deep water without creating unnecessary disturbance. Perhaps this is why the Dziva and Hove traditions are associated with intelligence, observation, and restraint. The wise person does not reveal everything at once. The wise person studies the environment. The wise person understands that what is happening beneath the surface may be more important than what is making noise above it. There's also a praise expression that describes the fish as nyamasase. The poetic image connects the fish with brightness, distinction, and the morning star of the water. Imagine the first light of morning touching the surface of a pool. A fish moves. For a moment, its scales catch the sunlight. Then it disappears beneath the water again, visible but only briefly, brilliant but not boastful, present but not fully exposed. Totems come with responsibilities. The sacred symbol is not simply worn as a badge of pride. It creates rules of relationship. For many Dziva and Hove families, fish and other creatures connected with water are treated with particular respect. Some branches avoid eating fish. Some traditions extend the taboo to creatures such as crocodiles and hippopotamuses. Other branches may observe different restrictions. This is where family knowledge becomes essential. Not every Dziva family follows exactly the same taboo. A person should speak to elders within their own branch before declaring one universal rule for everyone. But the deeper meaning remains important. The taboo says you cannot claim kinship with something and then treat it carelessly. If the fish is your relative, you do not destroy it for entertainment. If the pool is secret, you do not pollute it. If water gives life, you do not waste it. The totem into an environmental ethic, right? Long before modern conservation organizations arrived with reports, conferences, and PowerPoint presentations, communities already had systems that restricted the destruction of particular animals and places. A totem could protect a species. A sacred pool could protect a habitat. A taboo could prevent overconsumption. And a praise poem could teach children that nature was not merely a collection of resources waiting to be exploited. Nature was family. And when something is family, your behavior changes. You do not ask only, what can I take from it? You also ask, what responsibility do I have towards it? Some Dziva praise traditions mention the hippo. I'm just going to say hippo now. The word is too long and I can't pronounce it. The hippo is a fitting creature for a lineage associated with deep pools and great rivers. It spends much of its time in water, yet it also travels on land. It appears calm while partially submerged, but it possesses enormous strength. It does not need to display its entire body for the river to know it is present. In praise poetry, the hippo may represent power hidden beneath calm water. It can disturb the entire pool with one movement. It can create waves without leaving the water. The crocodile carries a similar sense of ancient presence. It rests silently, it watches, it waits. Its stillness should never be confused with weakness. Where these creatures appear in Dziva traditions, they deepen the symbolism of the pool as a complete world. The clan is not connected only to one small fish. It is connected to the life, danger, mystery, and authority of the water itself. The Dziva lineage is broad. It includes numerous praise names, surnames, family branches, and regional identities. Among those associated with Dziva or Hove traditions are Sawe or Save, Saigwa, Masiziva for women, Sambiri, Mbedzi, Mlambo, Shayamombe. Some families may carry these names as surnames. Others may use them as Ridao. Some are connected with particular chiefs, ancestral leaders, or settlements, Some appear in more than one clan tradition, which means a surname alone is not always enough to establish a person's totem. This is very important. Two people may share a surname but belong to different histories. Two people may carry different surnames but recognize the same ancestral praise. Totemic identity is discovered through a combination of family testimony, praise poetry, marriage rules, burial traditions, ancestral locations, and remembered genealogy. You cannot always type a surname into the internet and expect the ancestors or even Google to produce a complete family tree. Sometimes the answer is sitting in the home of an elderly aunt. Sometimes it is held by an uncle who rarely speaks unless someone asks correctly. Sometimes it is hidden in a funeral speech. Sometimes it is carried in the words used when welcoming a new bride. Sometimes it appears when an elder begins Maita, and then suddenly a whole history enters the room. The praise name Sawe, sometimes rendered Sawe according to pronunciation or family tradition, directly invokes the great river. To be praised as Sawe is to be associated with movement, continuity, and life across distance. The river does not serve one village only, it carries life through many territories. In the same way, Sawe families can be found across different districts and communities. The river also carries memory downstream. What happens at the source eventually reaches or touches places far away. This is a reminder that our actions rarely end with us. The knowledge we preserve today may reach grandchildren we will never meet. The mistake we refuse to correct may also travel downstream. We are all sources of something. The question is, what are we placing into the river for those who come after us? Musaigwa is one of the important names associated with branches of the Dziva lineage. It is particularly remembered within communities whose language and identity reflect Karanga, Ndau, or neighboring cultural influences. Although family accounts may differ, but the presence of Musaigwa reminds us that clans do not remain frozen in one place. People migrate, they marry, they establish new chieftainships, they adopt local pronunciation. A praise name may change slightly as it crosses from one dialect to another. The surface changes, but the underlying ancestral relationship may remain. Masiziba is frequently associated with women. That is the women's praise name of the Dziva, all women of the Dziva totem. The name contains the image of pools of bodies of water. Masiziba may therefore be praised as daughters of the pools, women carrying the dignity and life-giving symbolism of water. In many clan traditions, women praise names are not secondary decorations. They preserve vital distinctions. They identify the women of the lineage during marriage ceremonies, family introductions, and important gatherings. When a woman is properly praised, she is not addressed as an isolated individual. She is placed within generations. Her ancestors are called into the room through language. Her dignity is affirmed. Her children hear where they come from. Sambiri and Gandagovu. Sambiri is one of the most prominent names within some Dziva traditions. Praise poetry may connect Sambiri with Sawe, deep water, and the Hippo and Gandagovu. Gandagovu evokes thickness, protection, strength, and a powerful hide. It suggests that the gentleness of water should not be mistaken with vulnerability. A pool may look peaceful while containing enormous strength. The Sambiri identity may therefore carry the balance between calmness and power. Soft water, thick protection, silent depth. A person who does not seek unnecessary conflict but cannot be easily destroyed. Let us imagine an old story, not as a fixed historical account, but as a story that captures the spirit of the Dziva tradition. Long ago, a community settled near a great river. For many seasons, the river provided everything they needed. The people grew crops along its banks, their cattle drank from its shallows, children collected water from the smaller pools, fish moved through the deeper channels. The elders warned people, respect the river, take what you need, but do not insult the water, do not dirty the secret pool, do not kill carelessly. Remember that the river was here before you and it will remain after you. For many years, the people obeyed. Then a generation arose that believed the warnings were merely stories for the old people. They said, the river is too great to be harmed. They threw waste into the water. They destroyed breeding places. They took more fish than they needed. They mocked the rituals of gratitude. And because the river continued flowing, they believed there would be no consequences. But one year, the rains failed. The smaller streams disappeared. The river withdrew from its banks. The sacred pool grew shallow. The cattle walked greater distances. The crops failed. Hunger entered the village. The people called upon an elder of Dziva. They expected him to perform a ceremony and command the rain immediately. But the elder stood beside the damaged pool and said, "You are asking the water to remember you after you chose to forget the water." The people lowered their heads. The elder instructed them to clean the riverbank. They restored the damaged places. They stopped taking more than they needed. They gathered as families and admitted their wrongdoing. They remembered that a ceremony without responsibility is empty. Only then did the elder offer prayers for the rain. Clouds gathered over the mountains. Thunder moved across the sky. The first drops struck the dust. Then the rain came. The children ran outside. The cattle lifted their heads. The river began to rise. And the people understood that the rain was not simply a reward. It was a second chance. From that time, they taught every child, we do not own the water because we can control it. We belong to the water because we must protect it. A Dziva praise may differ according to branch and family. One version may call upon Dziva and Save, another may praise Sambiri, another may invoke Shayamombe, another may mention Vu, Gandagobvu, Musikavanu, or Msaigwa, or any of the people dwelling under the water. A short composite recitation may sound something like Maita Dziva, Maita Save, Maita Hove, Maita vana vaDzivaguru, Machinjerere vana vemvura, mvura yakacheka makomo, Maita Sambiri vegandagobvu vari kwaSave, Maita vana Masidziva, Hove iri Nyamasase, Maita vari mumvura, Maita Dzivaguru risingapwenye mhepo, Maita mvura inopa upenyu, tatenda Save, tatenda Dziva. This is not presented as the official Totem. Families carry different lines and sequences. A proper family recitation should come from elders and praise specialists of that particular branch. But even in this short form, the major images were visible. The great pool, Save River, the fish, the children of Dzivaguru, wisdom, deep water, strength, life, and the water that cuts through mountains. Yeah, it was in there. Why does praise poetry matter then? To someone unfamiliar with Zimbabwean culture, or even anyone familiar but doesn't know praise poems, praise poetry may sound like a list of poetic compliments, but it is much more. Edetembo is an oral archive. It stores names, it stores places, it stores relationships, it stores animals, rivers, mountains, migrations, and ancestral occupation. It can preserve a historical clue long after ordinary conversation is forgotten it. When someone says Varkwasave, those words may preserve a geographical connection. When the poem mentions a pool, it may preserve the memory of a settlement. When it praises rainmaking, it may preserve an ancestral responsibility. When it names an animal, it may record a taboo or a sacred relationship. This is why we must record praise poetry while elders who know it are still with us. Not tomorrow, not after someone has passed away. Now, sit with them. Ask them to repeat the lines, record the pronunciation, ask what each praise or phrase means. Ask whether men and women are praised differently. Ask whether the family has more than one Chidam. Ask where the ancestors lived. Ask the foods they were forbidden. Ask which chiefs or villages are connected to the lineage. And do not assume you will remember everything. Record it, write it down. Because memory is also water. If it is not given a channel, it disappears into the ground. The Dziva story is not relevant only because it is old. It speaks directly to modern Zimbabwe. Today, rivers are threatened by population. Wetlands are destroyed for construction. Streams are becoming dumping grounds. Mining is contaminating water. Communities struggle with unreliable water supplies. Urban families sometimes go for days without clean running water. Rural families may walk long distances to bowls. And suddenly the ancestral declaration that water is sacred does not sound primitive. It sounds ancient, doesn't it? Perhaps our ancestors understood something we are slowly forgetting. Water is not merely a commodity. Water is not simply something that appears when you open a tap. It comes from an ecosystem. It comes from the rainfall. It comes from the rivers, the wetlands, underground sources, and carefully maintained infrastructure. When we disrespect those systems, the consequences eventually reach everyone. The Dziva Totem therefore carries a modern responsibility. The children of the pool should be among those who defend water. But this responsibility should not belong to the Dziva people alone. Every Zimbabwean drinks water. Every Zimbabwean depends on rain. Every Zimbabwean should care what happens to our rivers. The totem teaches the lesson. The nation must live with it. Totemic descriptions should never become rigid stereotypes. Not every Dziva person will behave in exactly the same way. A totem is not like a personality test. You cannot meet someone and say, you are Dziva, so obviously you enjoy swimming and always carry a bottle of water. But cultural symbolism often expresses qualities that a lineage admires and encourages. The Dziva person may therefore be praised as wise, calm, observant, patient, resilient, life-giving, adaptable, generous, spiritually sensitive. A person who brings peace into heated arguments or heated situations. A person whose strength is discovered gradually. A person who nourishes others without demanding applause. But water also is another side, remember? When blocked for too long, it builds pressure. When disrespected, it floods. When underestimated, it destroys. Therefore, the Dziva character should not be reduced to softness. It is controlled strength. The peaceful person is not necessarily incapable of conflict. They may simply understand the cost of unnecessary battles. The quiet person may not be empty. They may be deep. Because Dziva is a broad lineage, anyone researching their family should go beyond the general totem name. Ask, are we Dziva, Hove, or Save? What is our Chidao? Are we Sambiri, Musaigwa, Shayamombe, Mulambo, Siziva, Mujizwa, Oromazitwa? Ask all of that. Where did our grandparents live? Which chief governed that area? What is our ancestral village? And how are women of our branch praised? What food or creature is forbidden to us? Which lines of the temple belong specifically to our family? Are there migration stories connecting us to Save, Buhera, Wedza, Chipinge, Bikita, Chiredzi, Checheche, or any other place? Who is the oldest living person who still knows these details? That is where real family research begins. The internet can open the door, but the elders must help you enter the house. This next part belongs to you, right? Your totem is not merely the answer you give when someone asks Onera Chi. It is a philosophy. You come from the image of water. That means you come from life. You come from movement. You come from depth. You come from persistence. Do not be ashamed if your strength is quiet. Water does not apologize for being soft. Do not be ashamed if you take time to understand before speaking. The deepest pools are rarely the noisiest. Do not believe that adapting means you have no identity. Water changes shape according to the vessel, but it never stops being water. You may live in Harare, you may live in Bulawayo, you may live in Johannesburg, London, Birmingham, Toronto, Perth, or New York. You may speak more English than Shona. You may know only fragments of the praise poem. You may have grown up far from the Save River, but a river can travel far from its source and still carry the memory of where you began. Your responsibility is to find that source. Ask, listen, record, learn, and one day teach. What does it mean to be called Dvana Dzivaguru, the children of the great pool? A great pool receives many streams. It does not reject water because it arrived from another direction. It gathers, it holds, it sustains. Perhaps this is also a lesson about family. A lineage survives by gathering its people, not by pretending there have never been disagreements, not by denying that branches have separated, not by forcing everyone to tell the story in exactly the same way, but by remembering the deeper pool from which they draw identity. Families change, surnames change, languages change, borders change, religions change. But the need to belong will always remain in every one of us. The Dziva tradition gives that belonging an image, a great pool, deep enough to carry many stories, wide enough to reflect many faces, old enough to remember people whose names have been forgotten. There is a reason our ancestors chose symbols from nature. Nature teaches without speaking. The lion teaches courage. The elephant teaches memory and authority. The monkey teaches intelligence and community. The zebra teaches identity within the herd. And water teaches us how to live life through change. Water falls from the sky. It enters the soil. It rises in springs. It gathers in streams. It becomes a river. It rests in pools. It enters plants. It enters animals. And us human beings, it returns to the atmosphere. It is always moving, always changing, yet never truly lost. Water is more than 1 billion years old. Perhaps ancestry is the same. The people who came before us are no longer physically present, but their language is still inside us. Their names are inside us. Their choices shape the roads that brought us here. Their stories may change form, but they do not completely disappear. They become the river beneath us. The Dziva Totem reminds us that the quietest forces may shape the greatest landscapes. Water does not need to shout at the mountain. It continues flowing. Water does not fight the seed. It nourishes it. Water does not demand that every creature live in the same way. It gives life to many. And when the world becomes dry, confused, and divided, perhaps we need the wisdom of Dziva more than ever. The wisdom to adapt without losing ourselves. The wisdom to remain gentle without becoming weak. The wisdom to protect what gives life. The wisdom to keep moving. The wisdom to preserve knowledge one story at a time. Because water that continues flowing can cut through mountains. And a story that continues being told can cut through generations of forgetting. Maita Dziva, Maita Savi, Maita Hove, Maita Sambiri, Maita Msaigwa, Maita Vanamasisi, Maita Mlambo, Maita Shayamombe, Maita Vana Dzivaguru, Vana Vemvura, Mvura yakacheka makumo, the children of the great pool. This has been the Native Child Stories of Zimbabwe. My name is Tawanda. As always, this podcast is not about claiming one version of oral history is the only version, no, or this version. It is about beginning the conversation. So, are you of the Dziva or Hove Totem? Is your branch Msaigwa Sambiri or Shayamombe, Mlambo, or Masiziva, or any other? What tembo did your parents or grandparents teach you? Which region does your family come from? And what taboos are observed in your particular branch? Share your family's version respectfully, because every contribution helps us rebuild a history that has been scattered across families, villages, and generations. Please remember to like, follow, and subscribe, and share this episode with someone from the Dziva lineage. Not simply because of views or numbers, but so that one more child may hear their ancestral name and decide to ask, who were my people? Until next time, know your totem, ask your elders, record the stories, protect the memory, and remember, we are the elders now.